Man, oh man, are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? This is the SPY. Doesn't look like much. Today's the quadruple witching, but here you got Qualcomm literally going crazy, right? That was about 30 minutes ago. Then you have Boeing literally 10 bucks in 40 minutes. We did a nice play. We literally, there's like 20 bucks to 700. I might, if I have time, I got a lot of videos for you. I'll try to post that over the weekend. And then Google gets probed. So the stock market was crazy today. It hasn't moved too much. It was like the first time we had 1%, but nothing over that 2%. But I want to talk about what happened, kind of leading into next week, what's going on. And also too, I'm posting these nightly watch lists, so you guys will get one on Sunday, but literally every single thing, I don't want to say every single thing, I don't want to brag and put it out there like that, but a lot of the things I said hit. So if you guys missed that, it didn't get as many views as the last one, so make sure you guys check that. And do me a favor, if you guys like this content and you want YouTube to show you these updates and you like these updates I'm giving you guys and everything else, drop a thumbs up. It will, it'll help us with the algorithm. The guys on the chat have seen, and again, we live stream youtube.com/thestockmarket 30 minutes before open Monday through Friday. So why did the market do all of this stuff today? Maybe I could, boom, you guys could see it there. So these were the 4 things that were important. Facebook also went down. Microsoft ended up going up. So a big reason is the quadruple witching. So if you guys aren't familiar with that, go to Investopedia, we'll explain it. But the simple and layman's terms, you have a bunch of different options in 4 different classes expiring today. So there's going to be, all the expirations fall on the same day. It makes it so that there's going to be a lot of volatility covering, rolling over shorts. So there's more volume, and that's why we saw what we saw today, where you had the S&P holding up, but then at the same time, you had a lot of individual stocks moving, and that is what we highlighted on the stream. I've been highlighting that in these videos. This is the good opportunity, because the last week, 2 weeks before that, all the stocks were moving in tandem. I'm doing a lot of these motions. All the stocks are moving in tandem with the S&P and the Dow, and then, Boeing was adding a weird weight to it. But so that is what really, this is a good sign for volatility and you guys trading, but it's also going back to with what we have happen with Brexit. We did have Japan stuff last night as well, and then some industrial orders, and those had somewhat of an effect, but realistically, the market, it opened flat on the quadruple witching, which was surprising, and it stagnated here, as you guys could see. Let me give you guys a better look at that. It started to stagnate, like not really stagnate, it held low, but then it started to rip up, and that correlated very, very well with Boeing here. So again, we've talked about the weighting that Boeing has on the Dow and how it affects the market. So that brought it up. The value stocks that we brought up, they went up, bank stocks, everything kind of got this boost, but however, a lot of things acted very independently today, and that's a key thing to note, because that is adding to some of the volatility. I think the market does not know what to price in with some of the Brexit and political issues we have. Trump in the border wall. There's a bunch of these factors. I'm going to cover those on the weekend, and I'll give you guys another update on Sunday. But mainly, the biggest thing that made the market go crazy today was Boeing, and then now these separate events. Qualcomm, they got forced to pay Apple $1 billion, and then there was another article that the government of Japan gave them a pass on something that happened like 10 years ago. One of their patents, they said it was unlawful, or it ended up being lawful. So the stock is just in a mix right now. The option chain was crazy, and I'll go over that when I go over some of the plays this week, but that happened later today. But really what caused the big thing, and that's the key thing to note here, the market's not moving too much on the other stuff, but when you start to look, really the S&P started going with Boeing, and Boeing started, it kind of caused a panic buy. One thing if you see the video I made on Boeing, I think a lot of shorts, there's a lot of various different things. But then now Google came out recently, and right now I'm making the video. The market is going to be open here for about another hour or so. So a lot could happen. People in the chat were even talking about this going down, but quite frankly, you couldn't be watching for something right now, but setting up into next week. So I even grabbed a put for Google next week with that probe. I think it's going to play out just like that, but now we're starting to see the interactions. Qualcomm and Apple, those two are doing something. Apple even, again, that really went straight up, and with some of the value stocks, I think that brought up the market itself too. I don't think we have to give that credit given Apple's weighting as well, but other than that, the main reason was Boeing, and now it's coming into next week. So I'm going to talk about this as we get more info, but really, I've said this already, the Federal Reserve. So we have that meeting coming next week. I think with the confusion of the market's probably just going to trade up around that area, and it's going to try to hold that level, or at least some level of pricing before that happens. But we also saw the 3 and the 5 year invert today, briefly. So if you go look at the bonds, let me see if I still have it up here. Yeah, I do. So you guys see, there's the stream. And again, make sure you guys are on here. We have a really awesome chat with people interacting. So please contribute. We got news, all that. Love to see you here. But this is the stuff. I think oil too had a little temporary dip, but nothing too crazy. It did run up earlier. But what I wanted to look at was the bond rate. So U.S. bonds, every single bond globally. And, I was looking at this to compare it with Brexit. A lot of them kind of held normal. When they start to stagnate, that's good, but we really saw the build-up moments when you start to see the dips or run-up. So there's that, and I'd watched the U.S. dollar as well over the weekend, but pretty much the U.S. rates are really in focus, because if you looked at how the rates are operating compared to the market, one of them is wrong, and that's something, even CNBC, I even saw talking about it, which I was surprised, and there you go, Google's coming down, so I think this is going to be that digestion play. We're going to see how that plays out. But, even CNBC was talking about, it's not focusing. CNBC was talking about the bond rates and how some traders, there is a warning signal with the bonds. This happened a few days ago. It cooled off today. The markets have kind of been slowing down, but again, behaving in this interesting fashion where individual names are really not moving as much as the index. But again, that bond thing is that was the issue, but now you saw the 3 and the 10 invert, so that could be another issue. Another thing, Tesla had the unveiling. I streamed that live too, but Tesla's good. That really wasn't general of the market, but seeing Google and Facebook and their events, that could have an effect. Now mixed with Boeing, and now here's the thing: Boeing. I didn't even explain why Boeing went up. Boeing went up, and it went crazy simply because of a fake news report, and I say fake because it was some AFP. Twitter, they seemed like a legitimate news source, but they said a software update was coming, meaning that they said software update, Boeing was releasing one in 10 days, and literally instantly after, right when that happened, Boeing said, no, nothing has changed with the timeline. They're still planning to do the same exact timeline, but the stock kept ripping. And now this brings up interesting things. If you watch the video I made on Boeing, one, I think there was, Boeing probably came in and supported it, corporate buybacks mixed with a lot of short selling, and I think it was a squeeze. And, again, I'm going to be swinging this. I'm going to put some money back into puts and try to identify a good entry position again. I'm still holding my other puts, and I cashed out on the weeklies today on the calls, but I want to see how this is going to be playing out. But the Boeing said this, and the next issue with Boeing, and again, this could affect the markets and be a contributing factor to next week in general, liability. If we get more of the France black box, this brought the stock up, but then if people if they admit that the software is there, it's kind of an admission of liability, they may get more, information. There's a lot of different things, but I'll leave it there. The market was truly very interesting this whole week. I'm glad I made that video at the end of last week saying that I think the prediction came true. I wouldn't even call it a prediction. Just seeing, and next week could be interesting. If next week isn't as crazy, I think there's a setup for events, but there's still now a little bit more of digestion taking place. However, you got to be careful when you see some of these moves. Again, if the volatility doesn't pick up, we'll see, but I'm sure some of the news events will be driving that and we'll be able to keep track of it. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Again, drop a like on the video. That's it. I love y'all. Have a great weekend. Peace.